Alrighty, alrighty. Can you guys hear me? I guess you can hear me, right? You should be able to hear me well like this, right? Yeah. Here is a Cedric. Good evening, buddy. I haven't seen you last night. Or no, when was it when I streamed the last time? Was it the Saturday, I believe? Let me just pour some water. Give me 1 second. Put my phone here. Play one game. Good evening, buddy. How are you? I got it, man. Good, man. I'm happy to hear that. Certainly better than staring at me writing gibberish. Actually, before we start coding today, there has been got a little bit of life. Exactly, man. Exactly. So I think one good thing. So as you can see, man on Mars. He asked about. So this is. Let's just maybe just open the stream a bit. Let's spend 5 minutes maybe talking about this. Man on Mars basically asked, "Hey guys, I would like to do something in the evening hours." He basically is asking, "Hey, he wants to build something." I don't know if you read this, but he's asking. He's a experienced developer, and he's asking, he would like to build some side project, right? So let's maybe start with that. I think that's a very very good kind of question that he asked. So I think if you wanna if you truly want to make money, right, and build a side thing, as I said many times before, I think the best thing you can actually do. Let's just switch to this. So I think the best thing you can do if you wanna no, actually let's move it here, is to build something very niche, right? So if you're looking for a product to build and make some money, right, you need to solve some problem really well and do that in a reasonable amount of time. So for example, I can give you some idea of if you wanted to make money. So the programmer network project might not ever make any money or might not ever become something, or it might, right? But the chances are very low. Now, if I wanted to build actually something that gets opposite of that, right? You could for example, let me show you some silly products, right? So basically this is a product that makes money, right? So this product, for instance, you can create forms, right? You go in here and you create a form, literally, right? um, and this is one of the products that it's easy to build relatively, and you can make money, right? So it's very niche. People, when they need to create all right. So if you want to make money, you build something like this. Another good example of if you want to make money is Calendly, right? So this is a fairly simple product. You can generate a calendar URL and somebody can book you for that, right? And then you can create round robins, like et cetera, et cetera. But this is, so those types of products you build if you want to make money, right? Yeah, I mean it is, but you can see it's not cheap, right? It's $8 a month per user, right? For instance. But then there are many. So if you're looking for something truly to make money, then you have, you can build some form builder, right? Uh, right. So what you could do basically is build something like this. I mean, I almost wanted to build this. I'm giving you basically ideas that I would build if I wanted to make side project and make money, right? So another thing you can build is in business world, right? All the business websites have tracking, right? Tracking is essential to any business. So every website that you go to, actually, let me show you. So let's imagine Calendly, right? We could probably Calendly is using Heap, Zoom Info, Google Analytics, Full Story. They're probably then using some CRMs like HubSpot or Salesforce or something, right? So Segment, they're also using Segment, right? Blah blah blah. So for example, one very interesting product that you could build is forms. So basically, simple forms where people can create forms but then integrate them with other tracking solutions, right? So integrate those forms with easy integration with, and then, you know, analytics.js, Segment, HubSpot, Salesforce, Zapier, and stuff like that, right? So this is a great potential product, because all the companies, all the marketing teams, all the sales teams, they use those forms to convert you, right, to a potential, right? So in marketing world, you have concepts such as MQL, SQL, new biz, right? So if you're talking to a marketer, they will know what those acronyms are. MQL stands for Marketing Qualified Lead, right? SQL, as you can imagine, right, stands for Sales Qualified Lead. So when you have those are called stage models in business now, or in marketing and sales. Now this is a typical journey of a customer, right? So when you go on some website, you come here and you fill in some newsletter. Somebody says, hey, just give us your email and we're gonna give you this newsletter for free. What you're basically doing, to yourself is you're becoming MQL. So you're becoming marketing qualified lead, right? Because you are now telling to their company that you're potentially a customer. Now marketing is gonna spam you a bit more, and then they're gonna say at one point, all right, I spoke to Alex. Then they speak to sales and say, okay, this is now a sales qualified lead. So now we are done as a marketing team. We have our efforts have paid off, right? We got the customer interested. Now sales should talk to them, right? So why the hell am I talking about this? Well, I'm talking about all of this is because forms are usually the central place of conversion, right? So when you go to any website, anywhere, you always fill in some form. You either book a demo or you sign up for a newsletter, you sign up with your username and password, whatever. But every time you fill in a form, you think what's happening is actually relevant, because what's actually happening, you're ending up in some CRM. And what is a CRM? What does that acronym stands for? We have customer relationship management, right? And we have HubSpot, Salesforce, et cetera, right? So if we copy this guy, what is a CRM, right? I mean, what I'm giving you here is literally half of the business school in 10 minutes, right? At least modern stuff, right? Now, what is this? So customer management, customer relationship management system is where you end up as a potential customer. And then what that really looks like, it's almost like a Kanban board. So this is how HubSpot and Salesforce, you must have heard of those, are two most popular CRMs on the planet. You have Microsoft Dynamics, you have few others. So what happens? So when you go to HubSpot, you generally a company, a sales team and marketing team, they're going to set up those stage models. It's going to be MQL, it's going to be SQL, it's going to be many stage models, but those are the three common ones. And it's going to be new biz, right? New biz is when you actually become a customer. You bought the product. So when you sign up for that newsletter on some website somewhere, you become an MQL in that CRM system. You are now there. So Alexander is now marketing qualified lead. So marketing is now talking to me still. They're spamming me, reaching out to me on LinkedIn, sending me emails, calling me on my phone. And then when they approximate, and this is all approximated, this is AI cannot do this, because if I ever become SQL, that means that marketing team in a company has spoken to sales team and said, okay, Alex now we think is ready to buy. So what they do in HubSpot or Salesforce, they move me from this Kanban column to SQL. And now sales qualified. So now I'm SQL. So now those guys are spamming me. Now they're trying to sell it to me, right? And then eventually when that happens, I become a new business, right? So that's kind of how it works. So again, forms are the central place of marketing and sales. So if you build a forms product that companies, can integrate on their websites, just embeds, and then they can integrate with those services and also the CRMs, you basically won. This is a product that you can sell easily. And if you're wondering why forms, right? Well, I mean, 99.9% of websites don't have a developer. So, right, so marketing, so your company websites generally either are built by consultants or they have a minimum one web developer, as it's called, right? So generally, people who maintain those websites, you know, they use WordPress or things like those no-code builders, right? So form solutions there are amazing, and people are buying them because they can't code. So they buy a solution like this, and then they embed that form there, and boom, that's it. So if you need an idea for a product that you can pretty much sell without a question, that would be something like this. Form builder, less relevant, more relevant is that you integrate with Analytics.js, Segment, HubSpot, Salesforce, Zapier, etc., right? So there you go. I'm going to record this and I'm going to share it later. I mean, I'm recording anyway, and then I'm going to share it with those guys because that's what they ask, and I just wanted to start talking about that today. Vanix, my friend, good evening. Why is the background different? Okay, never mind. Give me 1 second. Let me change the music. Genjo. Hey man, how are you doing? Yeah, now we're gonna write code. Yeah, I mean, yeah. All right. So that was the easy introduction for those who have no freaking clue about anything business related. Okay. Actually, shit. I really need to make a bot. Let me just do 2 things. So I'm gonna pin this so I can get more people to register. That's number 1. Administrative stuff, yes. And then for those of you, please just follow that YouTube channel. All right, let's start coding. So basically what we did, Complex, my friend, good evening. How you doing? Yeah, pretty much, yes, pretty much. All right, good to see you, man. He's my loyal, my very first viewer. All right, so we continue with this feature today. I'm actually quite excited to be doing it. So we're building a meetup feature, like, right? And yeah, so right now, what did we do? So we're showing those members here. Obviously, we're not done with. We're not gonna be going crazy with the details and stuff. 15-month streak. What the hell, dude? And he hates me, guys. Can you just imagine that? He literally he's not even lying. He doesn't like the stream. But what can he do? He's under my spell. All right. And then we have events, right? So let's go. Thank you guys for the subs and follows. Okay, let's hack on. Let me know if the music is too loud. Create an event. Okay. Okay, so all right, cool. For those 15 months, the amount of insults he managed to create never ceased to amaze me. I mean, I'm gonna start paying Complex. I'm gonna actually sub to Complex just so he can come and insult me here. All right. Okay, cool. So listen up, and Complex, shut up. I love you, man. No, seriously. Seeing you here, it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I wanted to make some metaphor of girls, but let me not do that. But yeah, uh, always love you, man. Always good to see you here. He was the guy when I was having 3 viewers. He was here, so you never forget those people. Poor guy. Okay. So basically, right? So you create a meetup, and then you're the organizer, right? And then the organizer itself should only be able to create the events off of that meetup, right? Now, the problem right now is though is that so essentially here. So let's use a bot, right? So let's use a bot just to automate this. Oh my God! Look at who. There's another one of my first viewers, Matty. Thank you, buddy. Actually, my colleague this morning, I woke up and my colleague at work, he shared a bun link in our company chat. How come I didn't rewrite everything instantly because a new technology came out? Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Am I even a programmer? Am I even a programmer? Version 0.1, instant rewrite. Otherwise, am I even programming? What am I doing here? No, I didn't. I don't follow those things, to be very frank with you. I don't know what Turbo is actually, to be very frank with you. I assume it's some sort of a language or something. Oh, yeah, I've seen that somewhere in weekly. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's completely reasonable to remove TypeScript, right? That's completely reasonable to me, honestly. But it is, right? I mean, look, let me put it this way, right? I mean, let's just be completely dead serious here. So if you're okay, so let me just put it this way. If your concern ever is performance, you should never use Node.js at the first place, right? So Node.js doesn't exist because it solves the problem of performance. Node.js exists and is useful and it's popular because it's convenient, right? If you want a super efficient API, then use Go. You don't need some fucking bun version 0.1 and then wait 20 years for adoption and bugs to be fixed. Do you need a super efficient API written in a beautiful language? Use Go. Do you need a balance between productivity and performance and stuff? Yes, use Node.js. It's that simple, right? And that's really it. I mean, why would you, let's say, use bun other than versus Go, right? Why would you use any of this new crap? It makes no sense. Go is a beautiful, well-established language, for example. It has a great community. It has the language itself has beautiful constraints, right? Yeah, I mean, it's right. Yeah, exactly. Like Chica said, exactly, pretty much. So I mean, I don't know why do we even need some of this. I mean, more power to those people build the languages. Don't take me wrong. I mean, why not? I'm not gonna complain that some genius is out there. I mean, we can't even probably comprehend that stuff, but still, right? I mean, if you need a sufficient language for your API, use Go, right? It's so simple. I mean, why do you need buns of the world, right? It's just solutionism at its worst, right? We are creating tools for the problems we don't have, right? So you create a problem and then you create a solution for it, right? Which problem are those things actually solving, right? Nobody seems to be having those problems, right? Yeah. So I don't know. Abo, good evening, buddy. Yusef, Yosef. Thank you very much for the follow. So it's kind of solutionism, and I think the world is moving into dumping down those things, right? I mean, the thing is, I see more and more products solving problems which people don't really have, but they invent so they can use the product. It doesn't make sense, right? If you need a beautiful API and a super performance concurrent, use Go, right? And that's it really. If you need the super low level stuff, use C, right? Use C++ even, use Rust if you want, right? Like somebody said, Chica said, if you want to build a CLI app, some CPU drivers, GPU drivers, use Rust or C or whatever, right? Probably C. And that's it. That's how it is. If you want to make things pretty, use CSS, right? Yeah, I mean, I mean, 99.9% developers who discuss that never actually dealt with performance issues in their lives. Literally 99.99999% developers who actually talk about performance never dealt with performance issues, right? How many of you actually have ever dealt with the API performance issues? Is there a single person here who has ever built an API and said, shit, I wish this was faster? Is there a single person here? There you go, right? Exactly, exactly. Well, everybody's, right? So, I mean, so anyway, it's just ridiculous. Fuck it. Let's keep on going, right? Yeah. Databases, yes, and that's where the bottleneck is, right? Chica is also right. It has always been our code that has been an issue, right? So yeah, it's quite ridiculous. Right? Okay, let's see. So create an event. So we try to find the meetup. If meetup is not found, return 404. If creator does actually, let's take a look at our database. I don't actually remember how I modeled this data. Does the meetup actually have a creator ID? Shit. It does. Okay, beautiful. Right, because the thing is, you know, like, that's the problem, right? As you go through your career, right? Please do this from now on. When you go tomorrow to work, when you go to the meetup, when you go to some other stream, just ask all the developers, did you just ask them a simple question? Okay, you claim, you talk about performance, number of requests and stuff. Did you ever actually work on a product where you actually dealt with those performance issues? And this is going to then tell you all of the stuff about this childish community that we live in. Programming community is the most inefficient and most childish community that exists out there, right? Because a lot of people make decisions like they're 16 years old, not like they're professionals, right? Okay, that's how it is. It's just ridiculous, man. Spots, location, title. Shouldn't I need the meetup ID as well? Yeah. So what do we need? Title, description, start date, end date, location type, location, meetup ID. Like this, right? And let's grab a JSON web token from our browser. It's kind of funny, man, how so many people out there are still building unicorns with PHP, right? Then you have people just constantly wasting time with this bullshit, man. It's ridiculous. It's so childish, it's not even real. Okay, so we did create an event. Nothing just works, right? If you haven't already learned in your programming career, you will. But sooner or later, you will learn that nothing just works, right? So whenever you see a framework that says, just use me, just if you use me, I just work. I'm so good. You know, you just install me and it all works. Over time, you learn to see bullshit in that, right? Just install me. All these years, all other programmers were doing things bad. Only I Okay, beautiful. So we have the events. So meetup. So where is this views? Okay, so let's say components. Just use me, right? Like if you use me, it's gonna be great, right? This latest new technology solves all your problems. Like all the bugs disappear and everything just works just if you switch to us. Panosa, my friend, good evening. Oh my god, the best stream ever. All of my top trolls are here. Top critiques. I feel like a movie now. I'm a movie, and all of my top critics are here to shove it up my face. How amazing is that? You know, Complex insulted me when he joined. Took him 3 seconds, which is normal, right? I would feel very different if he didn't. If he came here and said, "Hey, Alex, you great guy," I would be like, someone hacked his account. Please don't you ever give me compliments, because I'm gonna start doubting something. Exactly. Oh no, there you go. Somebody hacked Complex's account. He entered the password on a fake Facebook landing page. Bastards. Okay. Uh, Maeve, thank you very much, buddy. I mean, that jokes aside, that's very inspirational. Thanks a lot, man. I mean, I'm not trying to be entertaining. I'm trying to be at least educational to a degree. So hearing that I'm at least to some degree not completely boring, that's really nice to hear, man. Super nice to hear. I'm not really trying to be that entertaining, to be honest, because I also hate that when people overdo it. It then becomes almost like a joke and not nothing. So it has to be serious, right? I mean, we're all different. Everybody has. No, I mean, sometimes we fuck around. I agree. I mean, sure. I don't disagree. Yes, I agree that sometimes we mess around and stuff. Sure, right? But I don't think we do that as much as maybe some other people do. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I try not to do it too much, right? But for sure, I mean, it's a mix of, yeah. And it's also a mix for me, right? I also have to have fun. At the end of the day, to be honest, of course, I care way more about myself than about you guys, clearly, right? So before anything, it has to be fun for me, right? Um, Programmer Network is getting trolled, and at the end, PN is the community with blazingly fast answer to all questions with the best. Oh my god, what a lie. What a lie. What a lie. Actually, we can group it and then data, right? let's just print it for now, just so we can see if we're actually calling the API properly. I mean, I don't care about TypeScript, honestly. I use TypeScript at work and in some of my open source libraries, and sometimes I don't use it, so I don't care, right? I mean, and I'm also 35 years old, so I don't read news like that. I don't actually care that some random company or creator removed some language, right? I don't care, man. I don't care. Who cares, man? Who cares? A world has worked. There's literally hundreds of millions of websites not using TypeScript, and they're doing more than fine, right? So if somebody decides that to do that, more power to them, right? But genuinely, I mean, I don't care. People should use whatever they feel like, and people should use the stack that they want and that they think is best for them, and that's it, right? Again, this community, regardless of age, is the most childish professional community that there is out there. There isn't more immature community on the planet than programmers, right? It's just bunch of egoistic idiots, right? Who take things that don't matter way too seriously, right? And with that said, yeah, I mean, what is to say, right? I mean, just have your own opinion, right? Be productive, understand that you're there to support the business, not vice versa. And then if you manage to do that, you're going to do great if you grow up. If you don't grow up, then you're going to be wasting time on stupid discussions such as, oh my God, somebody removed TypeScript and shit like that. I mean, who cares, man? Who cares? Like world first problems. Some fucking company removed TypeScript. Amazing. That's my honest, as always, that's my honest take, man. That's how I feel about it. I think I pretty much shared it very out of my heart. Who cares, bro? What? Why are we not getting any IntelliSense there? Yeah, that kind of sucks. Whatever. Finally, a Fastify dev. MRX, good evening, buddy. How's life? Why does it suggest that? All right, let's just slam some stuff here. Let's just say events.map. Yeah. I don't actually even know. Let's take, do we have the data in our Swagger? Let's take a look. How does the event look like? Yeah, so we do actually have it. Beautiful. Let me just grab this crap. Fastify is beautiful, man. I mean, Fastify, I've been writing Node.js for 15 years, and I used Happy.js, I used Express, I wrote my own my Node.js frameworks. I did a lot of stuff with Node.js, and in my honest opinion, so far, Fastify has been the most amazing thing I've used, right? Definitely the most amazing, without a doubt. What's the most important for you in code reviews? The most important thing in code reviews is that you review the functionality and you ensure that the functionality is and the requirements are as they should be. The least important thing in a code review is the code style, like, oh, why didn't you, right? Or the name of a variable. Okay, that to some degree can be important, right? The most important thing is that you teach your team to write code reviews so the code knowledge is shared. The main knowledge of the product is shared. So code review isn't just something like being a oh, you could have written this as a one-liner or some stuff like that. That's the most useless code review, is review like that. Oh, well, you could have used a one-liner here and you would have saved one line of code, right? Yeah, so the most important thing is that you as a team understand why code reviews matter. Code reviews matter, and the only way to actually have useful code reviews that actually are meaningful, is that you check out to that thing that someone did, you click it around, right? What about pointing out unflexible code and tight coupling? What about pointing out unflexible code and tight coupling? I mean, okay, there are too many questions now, so let's just the thing is, I actually recorded a short video on YouTube about it. It's very kind of clear, right? Let me try to find it. I think I recorded a short video. How is it live? How do I find my own fucking stuff? Yeah, I think I created a short video on code reviews. Wait, it's not that clearly, but how do I find? Yeah, how to do code reviews. There you go. It's like 1 minute. All right, I'm gonna get back to questions. It's just I feel I'm not getting anything done past few minutes. So keep the thought, guys, and give me 1 second. My wife is shit. So yeah. So let's just continue writing some code, and then we get to that. I promise. Okay, great. So we're showing the events now. Beautiful. Let's actually create few more of the same ones. So let's just slam few more of them. Beautiful. Let's style them a bit, super primitively. I don't want them to be anything special. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to turn this thing into an actual section. And yeah. Oh, man. I fucking love you, Complex, man. I do, dude. That's a nice catch. That's a nice catch. No, my wife just said she's gonna stay at work until like 1 a.m. or something like that. That's why I said shit. I mean, I love her most in the world, obviously. So seeing that she's gonna have overtime tonight, I don't appreciate that, right? But it did feel amazing. Fucking dicks. She's a pharmacist. She's a pharmacist. Give me 1 second and shut the fuck up. Okay. Fucking bastards. Okay. Assholes. All right. Flex. Yeah, my mom is a doctor as well. So yeah, I'm clearly sick. I'm the only degenerate in the whole family. That's how it is. That's how it is. Okay, blah blah blah. Text Excel maybe. I'm the only guys. All right, so that's great. And then obviously, right, we'll want to. Yes, so this is eventually going to be a nav link. as so many times, or same repetitive crap, right? And then it's going to be pretty much something like this, right? Yeah. So it's going to be like 2, right? And then it's going to be, events.id, right? Something like that, right? Then we'll need to create that thing. Yeah, that's great. One horrible thing for now, right, is that we're using IDs and not kind of slugified things. So we're going to have to obviously fix that in the URLs, because SEO-wise, we would get punished a lot, right? Because you can see meetup and then ID3, events, ID, event ID 2, right? So we'll need to kind of have some slugification on the events. And we're going to need this slugification everywhere, I think. And I think we can do a virtual one. Wait, so Fastify, no. Wait, SQLize slugify. It would be super nice, but the slugification thing that we had before, the library, it's not maintained. Yeah, is this one. It kind of sucks ass, right? Yeah. Last published a year ago. Yeah, shit. But we can't have as a virtual, right? Or could we have it as a virtual property, right? But either way, okay, let me not get carried away by that. We're gonna fix those technicalities in time. Here we can actually omit this in a go away, no, or just omit the variable. And let's say here, error toast, yeah. That's great. Actually, maybe we could end up building another Fastify extension, actually plugin. That would be pretty cool. But no, this would be SQLize, more of a SQLize type of thing. We'll see. Okay, so we have that crap now. Yeah, I do. You're right. The thing is, we are using that same slugification thing. I can actually show you, right? So if we go to the model, we have this SQLize slugify here, right? It's just I don't like it. It's not really extensible. And if you remember Panosa from a very long ago, we couldn't do some things. I mean, we could indeed do this though, right? I don't know. I mean, we could do this, right? Yeah, let me not argue that. I mean, I agree with you 100%. Let's maybe set it up for now, but I'm not very happy with this extension. So let's end up using it as well. Wait, how am I doing it here? Slugify. Wait, no, that's not its schema. Where the hell is it, dude? Ah, okay, hooks, associate. Ah, I see, okay. So I have this kind of some abstractions I've wrote already. So slugify, and then here we're gonna have models. I see, models.article, okay. And then the source should be the, what does it, let's go to, actually we don't have the models, but let's say, so Meetup has a title, right? So it's gonna be title. I'm not using any branches, no. I mean, not for this project, because I'm mostly working alone, so there's no point. There's no point in almost any. For the bigger feature, I'm using a feature branch, basically. It's called Meetups feature, right? But no, I'm not. There's really no Git strategy for this project necessarily. shit. I think this should be meetup event. Well, what's the name of the table? Meetup event. Yeah, meetup event. And what does the meetup event? Does it have a title as well? Yeah, it does. All right. Well, technically, this should work, I guess. Let's actually go and create an event now. And let's see what happens. Are we actually virtually producing this, or are we actually physically storing the slug? Let's take a look. Meetup event. And I think we also have to, just like with the article, we need to create that create that field. I believe we have a slug somewhere here, right? Yeah, we have a slug, right? And then somewhere here, source title bulk update article. But where the hell did I? Source title article. But am I actually using this slug? Do I actually have to create? I think I do have to. So yeah, I guess, yeah, give me a second. So model, controller model. The thing is, right, I mean, without kidding and stuff like that, right? The thing is, use the strategy that makes you productive, right? The thing is, again, as with everything else, as you grow as a professional, really in anything, but especially in programming, right? Try not to impose some sort of a self you get what I mean, right? So there's no really a right or wrong way for every single use case, right? So everything is contextual, right? So um depending, right, like you have a lot of strategies for teams, but then if you're building something on your own, then do whatever. I mean, you're already disadvantaged, right? I think, I mean, yes, I think branching generally is not bad when it comes to teams, right? And it's not bad primarily, right? Because you kind of group bunch of commits under one umbrella. So you can then, I think the biggest Visual Soy code, I think the most useful thing when it comes to branching, right, is that you can check out to that feature, right? And this is kind of something you should be doing anyway, right? So you should, like, if your developer ever has a feature branch that they kind of did properly, they did the commits properly, right? What you can do, you can just check out to that, npm install or whatever, and then click around, right? So this is where kind of the feature branches are useful. Besides that, I mean, it has really no other use. Fuck, do we have shit? What was it? No, so actually that should still be there, I guess. What is this? What is happening? There was an error loading the meetups. I see. Okay, so we did mess something up. Let's see what the actual error is. Bad request. I see. Meetup events. Um, all right, let me try one thing. Give me a second. All right, beautiful. Let's do that. Yeah, let's actually see. I don't actually genuinely remember. Give me a second. So meetups. Yeah. So now there's no meetups. Let's actually go ahead to Postman, right? And let's create one. I guess we're gonna need another JSON web token here. Most likely, yeah, exactly. The token has expired, so that's perfectly fine. We're gonna go to the headers here, and we're gonna do this, right? Okay, so bad request, yeah. In your article part, you were getting the slug also. Yeah, but that's not the problem, I think. So we're getting a bad request now. Okay, let's see what the stack trace says, blah, blah, blah. Meetup slug cannot be null. Ah, I see. So the question then is, do we need the slug as part of the where is the model that we updated? Do we actually need that, or is it going to create it itself? That's what I don't remember genuinely. Let's try that again. Then we need to basically do this again. Right? Yeah. Let's do that. Let's create this thing again. That should work. Meetup event, meetup. So yeah, so the Slugify does seem, or let's actually create article. Let's get over here. Let's see what are we doing here. So content body. Maybe Cedric, good night, my friend. Thank you very much for sticking around, dude. Thanks a lot, man. Sleep well. Source title bulk update true. So yeah, so that's pretty much what we have, right? So we have the Slugify here. We do have the slug unique true. Slug. Yeah, unique true. Shit, maybe, yeah, I actually know what might have happened, right? Let's take a look at that. Meetups model, yeah. Yeah, let's try that, and meetup ID, members, event. Let's try this as well. So unique true, yeah, I think that should be, this should be sufficient, right? I think, and then this is also fine. Meetup event, meetup, yeah, I think that's okay, I think. I use VS Code. So let's go over here again. Let's nuke everything. Then let's do that again. Let's go to our postman thingy. Let's try this again. Okay, so now we're getting it, but slug is null. Double splinter, thank you very much, man. The number of followers doesn't mean it doesn't mean much. Those numbers are absolutely irrelevant. How many? But thank you. Sequelize, what a great invention, indeed. Wait, what did I want to do? Yeah, so why is the slug null? That's not what I would expect, right? Interesting. So what are we? Actually, let's search for Slugify again, right? So where am I using a faker? Thank you everybody for subs, follows, and all that stuff. Pretty cool. So I'm not doing anything here, honestly, that I'm not doing there, am I, right? So we're calling this crap, right? We're getting the reference here from the models, yeah. Slugify model. Very interesting. Very interesting. Wait, did this actually run? It did. So the only thing, actually, so you know what it could be? The schema itself, right? I think that's what we're forgetting to do, most likely. Let's fix that. So if we take a look at our schemas, right? So meetup, right? Yeah, here it is, meetup response schema, right? That's what we're missing, right? So we're gonna have a slug here, right? Then we're gonna have the same thing, meetup event response schema, right? I think that's the problem. That's why we're getting the null potentially, maybe, I don't know. All right, so that could be it. Shit. Not quite. So why are we? Blue guitar is Gretsch. It's Gretsch. It's almost like this crap is not working. Source title. Does the meetup have title? I guess it does. Title, yeah. And we're saying, you know, that's the source slugified bulk update. And articles actually do have it. Let me go to my faker. Let's try to figure out what's happening. Create article, right? So this is how we're creating the article, right? Source, platform, content, title. Oh, X, good evening, buddy. So you can see when we actually create the dummy data for even the articles, we don't really provide anything. So it just works. So it could be that this associate, so it could be some concurrency type of an issue, right? I suspect. What if I actually get over here? Do I have the models, right? So what if I would actually get over here, and once all of this is done, kind of run this instead? Let me take a look at that. It could be some sort of concurrency issue, maybe. I don't know, because right now I have no, honestly, ideas. So let's just smack this fella over here. And yeah, so associations, what do we have? Associations and models, right? Yeah, so let's say here, models.meetup. Let's run this crap again. Just to kind of nuke all the data. Let's do this. So that's fine. Let's create a... Okay, so now it works. So it was some sort of a concurrency issue. Yeah, I can see now that it actually works. You can see that it's now slugifying it. Okay. I mean, clearly we solved it, but yeah, there is some execution order that it didn't like, right? And most likely I know why. Yeah, I think the reason why is, let's take a look at that. So I think I shouldn't have centralized. So let's try to fix this properly. So I'm going to take this call, and I'm going to put it in this associate here for the meetup itself, right? This is right. So I'm going to do this. And then there's going to be models.meetup. I'm just going to try that. I don't fucking know. Then I'm going to take this back. Oops, that's actually not what I wanted to do at all. I wanted to take this crap. And then if we get over here, we should do the same for the so we have the meetup associate, meetup members, blah blah blah, meetup event. Yeah, we have this bad boy here, and then we have the associate here. Jesus Christ, man. Doesn't matter if this doesn't work. We're gonna move from that. It's irrelevant. I just want to see if this could potentially solve it. Why would I use Mongo when I need a relational database? MongoDB is a schemaless document-based database, and it has its uses. Building social platforms with MongoDB is not one of them. So it's absolutely nothing with choice. It has to do with requirements. That's like saying, why didn't you use time-based database, or why didn't you use Redis for structured data, right? Which plugin exactly? Which plugin exactly are you referring to? The one, this one. This is Postman, or the database one. Which one are you referring to? Okay. By the way, this now works, so we're good. So we do have a slug now. And actually, if we go to the front, we should actually, so when we get a meetup, yeah, here we get a slug. Beautiful. It's not. No, absolutely not easier. No, that doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. Easier how? You also have JSON-B in Postgres. You can also write schemaless stuff in. Of course, you shouldn't do that, but it's absolutely not true. And for the most part, you still end up using Mongoose or something like that. So so the theme that I'm using is a default theme, right? I'm using dark modern, but I'm using this extension called background. So that's, I think, what you like. I think you like the actual background. And actually, Chica, I love you, man. Thank you for creating that. Chica made like a package of my things. So beautiful. Okay, great. So now we have this stuff. So instead of now using the ID, now we're gonna use the slug, which obviously means that we're gonna have to update the API so we actually get them. Yeah, shit. We'll have to see, right? And Nidra, thank you very much. But anyway, we do have the slugs now. So this one that you see in here, let's actually update that in the front as well. I think if we get over here, so here we're going to say slug, right? And then here we're going to have slug, right? Oh my God, barcode buddy. Good evening, man. I'm so happy that you're back. You got pissed, I believe, last time at... I think you got pissed last time at... who was it? Yeah, who was it? But he's also gone, man. He hasn't been here. Got it. How is the project going, man? How is your stuff doing? You were doing. I remember last time we spoke. You refactored all of the stuff. How did that go? Oh, it's dead, man. What the hell happened, dude? Why is it dead? You had a lot of users, man, and stuff. Let me check what you're doing now. Shit. Ah, okay, so it's locked. All right. Dev, okay. It's work in progress, I see. A Minecraft server list, I see. Okay, very interesting. Okay, I see. And then I guess you copy this thing and I never played Minecraft, so I don't know how it works. I see. Okay. Microservers. I mean, again, when it comes to databases, right, it doesn't matter, right? Like if you're learning, if you're new, right, use whatever, right? At the end of the day, it doesn't, what you use for learning, right, building hello world apps and some few forms where you can input something, it's not relevant, right? When it comes to making major technical decisions, the most major technical decision you make when building anything is which databases you use, right? Data model and database is going to define your whole application, right? Because the whole application is just one fat data layer that's abstracted around with some code, right? So that's why I'm saying there's no such thing, why didn't you use this database? That's like saying, why didn't you use a hammer to paint your walls, right? So if you're learning, if you're building some apps, who cares what you're using? You can use MongoDB and use IDs as references, or use, nested objects, nested documents, and then have pain updating them, blah, 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 right? But when it comes to building things that have to scale and work, you don't just say, why don't you use this database, right? So if you're using something to have fun, use whatever you want, right? Use Mongo. Mongo is a beautiful database. Don't take me wrong. I have nothing against Mongo. I used Mongo for many years, right? I even wrote some open source libraries for MongoDB, right? I also used MongoDB with Neo4j. MongoDB has something called a doc manager, right? So I don't know. I used to use Neo4j, MongoDB, and Neo4j doc. I don't know if they still maintain this, but essentially, Neo4j team has created something called Neo4j doc manager. And what this basically does, it takes your MongoDB flat documents. So this is your MongoDB document, right? Which is part of some collection, right? And then it translates that into a graph. So your document become, or documents, they become nodes, and then they're described by some vertices, their connections, right? So when I worked 8-9 years ago in Sweden, we went with MongoDB. We made a huge mistake because we needed something very relational, and then we tried to solve that problem. Then we solved that problem by adding a graph database to which MongoDB would replicate, and then the Neo4j doc manager would turn those flat documents into. So essentially, MongoDB ended up just storing flat documents. Then they were replicated into graphs, and then so our application, our API, was querying the actual graph. So our API wasn't any longer querying this guy, it was querying this guy, right? So you don't use MongoDB for heavy relational tasks. It makes no sense because you shoot yourself in the foot very hard, because that database, even though, I mean, it's hilarious because MongoDB has an official example, build a social platform in, MongoDB. That is just marketing, right? No sane person would do that. You don't build something like that without actually having relations, right? It's just silly. And even more hilariously, what people do, they take Mongoose and then they put it on top of MongoDB, which makes it even more useless. Because now you have taken a schemaless database, which it sells itself on the fact that it doesn't need schema. There's no constraints. You can store one document with 5 fields, another document with 500 fields, and then you add constraints to that. In simple words, if you're using Mongoose, you should be using Postgres. If you so for example, MongoDB is an amazing database for super fast reads and writes. And also if you're working in a medical or research facilities and stuff, and you need to, store a bunch of documents, I don't know, machine data, you have those. When I worked at the DTU, Danish Technical University, I was building software for hospitals. And in those hospitals, I went, when I was going there with my team, they have those kind of big machines that take the vials, like robotics, right? They take the vials, they shake them, they move them around this track, right? And that machine that we were writing software for was producing huge Excel sheets, which we took and converted into centrifuge. I don't know. We took those Excel sheets, and our task was to build a software to take that shitty data and then convert it to something meaningful. And then we used MongoDB for that because, the relations on that data was very minimal. You had a vial that belonged to some person, right? So it was pretty much, we could explain that in a very flat hierarchy, right? Whew, Jesus Christ, that was a long response. I got tired. Okay. Yes. So if we get back here, but yeah, every tool has its application, right? That's how it is. That's how it is. All right, cool. All right. Shit. Of course. So we go to meetups now. We need to update the UI as well. So we go to... We do the slug, right? I know, Barcode. I know, man. I was also kind of slacking a bit. I was also on vacation and stuff, but you're absolutely right. No, but you will. I mean, that is not, that is literally, you can take it for granted because it will be. I mean, I have, I also want to build like a early adopters page or supporters or whatever, because I'm just don't have the time. So maybe I can actually ask one of my followers to do it, right? But all of you guys who signed up, you will indefinitely be on the page. There's no doubt about that. Like 100%. I just, it's so, I have so little time to do this because, of the full-time job and kid and wife, that it just never materializes, man. But absolutely. Dune, hey there, good evening. In a really new developer, I'm working on a company that uses mean stack to produce an application. I already tried to produce an app by myself using MySQL and had a really hard time, maybe because I did. Modeling your data takes some experience and time, right? But think about it this way, right? Just for those of you who are overthinking, and I always have good metaphors. So if you stick for 3 minutes, I promise it's going to be worthwhile, right? So did you ever wonder in your life? Did you ever wonder, like, and this is a huge issue when people go to universities and those teachers kind of fucking suck, right? So think about it this way: how did databases ever? How did we create databases on computers and why? Think about it this way: up until maybe 50 years ago, you had a building. You had a building somewhere in your town, and in that building, you had archives, right? You had a bunch of those bookshelves, whatever, filled with boxes, right? And this is how we kept all of our documents. You still have those government buildings all around the world, and they still keep those copies of physical things, right? And then, think about it this way. I think it's going to be worthwhile if you stick around. And then, like I said, they were those bookshelves, or not bookshelves, those shelves were filled with boxes, right? Mike, my friend, good evening. And each one of those boxes had some data in there, right? So all of these boxes, they had some data. You get the point, right? And I'm just going to actually take this. So data. So this is, again, those are just shelves filled with physical boxes, right? All over the place. And then probably humankind, as we had to keep a bunch of documents in those boxes, some dude said, hey, man, let's label those rows. Let's sort this data somehow. So let's name this, in this bookshelf, we're going to start boxes with A. In this one, we're going to start it with B. And then you get the point, and then eventually shelf N, right? And then somebody in computer science called this indexing, right? But then humankind, so we're talking before computers existed, this was the databases. It was physical buildings filled with boxes, right? And then people were thinking, okay, how can we organize this physical space better so we can find things better? So when somebody says, give me Mike's, where is Mike? How do I know that Mike is here, right? Well, probably this row has a label of M, and then those things are also sorted in some way, right? So and you can kind of see, so databases that we have today were obviously invented by the real life use case of how we store the documents before, in a physical sense, in a literally physical sense, right? So right, and this again still exists. So why am I talking about this? Well, I'm talking about this, right? No, but I think the easiest way to understand computer science and databases is not to think about computers at all. I think that's the fundamental problem. If you want to understand data and databases, you don't think about computers or links or references or anything like that. This is literally a building. Think about this. This is a government building, right? And this is a first floor, and it's filled with boxes, right? No, this is not, I'm just present, right? And then up for many decades, this is how we store the documents, on shelves, in boxes, and then we figured out over time how to sort those boxes, how to organize them. It's irrelevant, you know, I'm not gonna get into details of algorithms. It's absolutely irrelevant. We just think about it that we figured out ways as human species to do this. And then eventually we turned this knowledge into computer knowledge, right? So we then created those databases, and then we did apply the same patterns as we did in real life. We started modeling data. So somebody asked, I don't know how to model data. Well, you model data in the same way, right? You know, you think about the real life. You don't think about computers. If I have a user, that user is connected to something else. So if you want to model your data properly, don't think about computers. Don't think about ones and zeros and references and libraries and stuff, right? Just think about real life. Imagine you're in your room now and you have to sort out your room. You have to move things around so it makes sense, right? And then do the technicalities, right? There's nothing about databases really that's hard to understand if you think about the real life, right? Okay, blah, blah, blah. So that's amazing. So we are actually already... And then events, and then let's do the same with the events. So undefined events, yeah, okay. Blah, 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 meetups, events, yeah. So it's this fella over here, right? Yes, meetup ID. So this is also going to be slug. And then it's going to also be event.slug. And then if we go to our API, right? So if we go get shit. So if we get over here to this bad boy, this is going to be fuck. So I guess meetup slug and then event slug, right? Yes, beautiful. And then over here we're going to have event slug, meetup slug. Yeah, that's kind of irrelevant in this sense, right? Because the slug is unique, so we don't really need that. So here we're just going to say slug is event slug, right? Beautiful. Okay, so at least that works. It's just we don't have the UI for that yet. Shit, what happened? Ah. Verify it's you. What the fuck happened, bro? Give me 1 second, guys. Hopefully, the music is gone. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm fixing it now. I don't know what the fuck happened. Give me a second. All right, should be back now. Which page, barcode? Of course, please share it again. Of course I can, dude. Of course I can, my friend. Just smack it here. Yeah. There you go, buddy. All right, beautiful. So if we go now to the app, right? It's broken. Okay, what's broken? Let me see. Oh, really? Okay, wow. Let me take a look at my logs. Let me take a look at my Grafana and Prometheus. Give me 1 second. Give me a moment. Grafana basically is just a front-end kind of tool that it's a query and tool that visualizes your logs. And logs can be coming from many sources, right? So it can be coming from various different types of sources that you send your logs to, right? Okay, so it does work for me though, which means shit, right? I know why. I know why. Barcode, I know what it is. I know the bug. The bug is related to multiple things. If you log out and log in, it's going to be solved. So it's definitely something in the code. I don't want to get into the details, but it's related to JSON Web Token and something. 100% it's going to work. 100%. If you just log out and log back in, it's going to work. Like 1,000,000%. Like 100%. Hey, Alex, is Program Network a monolith or a microservice architecture? It's microservice. For the most part. Microservice is also a very relative term, right? So, but it's, for the most part, it's Hetzner. I think, I don't know if it says here, yeah. I should really use like Yeoman or something and build some generator for this same crap I keep doing. I don't know if Yeoman still exists though. Exports. I use HTTP. I'm using VS Code, yes. It is VS Code. I just adjusted it a bit. It's just VS Code, right? Okay, that's actually funny. I use HTTP 404. Maybe you haven't heard me. I did share it with you. I use HTTP. Meetup slug, events slug. Okay, so wait a minute. Where is that? Events, meetup, events. Yeah, so when we click API v1, meetups, yeah, okay, so that's the problem, right? So here we're gonna, yeah, I use HTTP as a communication protocol, yes. That's really all that there is. I just use HTTP to communicate internally with other service. I'm not, if you're asking me, am I using gRPC? I'm not. And I will not do it. I was considering that. I was considering that barcode. The bootcamp thing, I'm still considering, right? The thing is, as my stream continues, right? I've been streaming now for a year, and I know that eventually it's gonna get more and more people, and it's gonna be right. I want to obviously try to, as the time goes by, I want to try to monetize certain parts of it. This is never gonna change, right? What we're doing here, but I would like to be able to make money to invest into this project. So, you know, I make a few $100 a month and I can just invest it. I go to fiverr.com and I get a designer, right? But I don't know yet. I don't want to make this a job, like I said before, because again, for me, the least concern is making extra money. I can stop this and do consulting projects on the weekends, and I can make shit tons of money, right? So it's not about the money. It's about finding the fun way to make extra money for this project, right? So because I don't want to make extra money in a way of just doing it for the money. I want to figure out if there's a way through this stream to do it. And that's the challenge, right? So it has to be super fun and then profitable. Because if it's not fun, I don't want to do it. That's the problem, right? So the idea with this mini bootcamp is that would be fun for sure, because it would be group based. We would be, right? Yeah, exactly, right? Because I don't need money for life. I make my salaries big enough to cover my life and stuff like that. I just need, if I want to make extra, I would want to make something that I can invest into this project, right? And it has to be through the stream somehow. So I don't know. Morso, thank you very much, buddy. That's very kind of you. Thank you for resubbing. Thank you very much, man. So we'll see about the bootcamp. I'm not sure yet. I need to make sure that if I end up doing it, again, it's fun and also organized and stuff like that, right? So I'll have to think about it. I'm not genuinely sure yet. Okay, I'm sorry. I think I do have Hetzner affiliate, yeah. I think Google probably flagged you in some way. I don't know, maybe because you have adult related content or who knows, right? It's very hard to know. And I remember that you also spoke to them, right? But they never told you why or whatever. So who the hell knows, right? I certainly don't. Give me 1 second. Why is this? Wait a minute. So meetups. Give me just 1 second. I really need to finish this just for a moment. 1 sec. Who knows, man? Maybe there's some legislation there. Maybe there's something special about that, right? That you need to who knows, right? I know for the fact that I've heard many stories and experiences that once you get flagged, it gets very difficult, right? It gets incredibly difficult to get unflagged even, right? Oh, this is why. What the hell, man? Why did I do this crap? This makes no sense. I'm very sorry for that, man. Like, that project was actually really cool, man. I hope that you can resolve that. I hope that you can resolve that because that project was actually pretty awesome, man. And I know that you had thousands of people, right? Thousands of... Don't give up, dude. Don't give up. Don't give up, man. I mean, genuinely, I wouldn't, right? Yeah, I wouldn't, I don't know. I don't know now. But I'm happy to somehow give you a hand, help you out off stream and stuff like that. Maybe we can see, you know, remember you and I, we used to sit together on Discord. I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like it's something you can't fix. It's just maybe annoying, but it has to be possible. Barcode, what are we talking about? Barcode has built a service for boosting your Discord audience, and he had a platform with thousands of, maybe even millions of visits a month, right? And then he got flagged by Google. His SEO went to shit, and then he kind of gave up, it seems, because he didn't know how to fix it. Okay, beautiful. Actually, we're getting somewhere. So we're building the UI. Okay, I'll let you guys chat about that for a moment. Okay, so now we have this thing. We can obviously cache pass this via HTML5 history API, but I'm not actually going to do that at all. Even though in this case, it would make sense, to be honest. Meetup event. And thank you everybody for your very much for your follows and all of that stuff. Appreciate it. Where is the event? So we're gonna move this bad boy over here. We're gonna smack this thing here, right? Pretty much almost like a boilerplate in a way. Just gonna do this crap. Maybe we're gonna even need this. So I'm just gonna actually move this fella over here. And then we're gonna yeah, so we're gonna need, so when we get here, we have two IDs. We're gonna have meetup slug, event slug. Yeah, we kind of need that. We need that. We need that as well. This is gonna be a single event, set event, right? And that's gonna be, let's say initially it's null, whatever, or we can have some defaults. Who cares? But it doesn't really matter at all, right? And if we also get up over here, we can just grab this bad boy. Is loading events. We're gonna auto import the spinner. Beautiful. Then we're gonna import the request my Axios wrapper I wrote. Where is it? Here. That should be great. So API v1. Let's take a look at our Swagger again. So how do I get an event? Yeah. So we need to update that endpoint as well. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much, guys, for your support. Very much appreciated. Get event. So it's this fellow over here, right? So if we actually go to my over here, so we did in fact update this meetup slug, event slug, yeah, exactly. So that's actually pretty good. Just I guess we didn't refresh here. I didn't refresh my Swagger. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, here it is. So get events. Yeah, meetups, API v1 meetup slug events, event slug. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. Events. Okay, and then it's going to be a event slug. Yeah. Meetup slug. Yeah, pretty much. And then there should be a set event, right? We should do this and use our Copilot should help us with the error. Yeah, that's great. And then we have the event, and yeah, we want to show the event eventually. So let's just show the title. Event.title. Panosa, man. Thank you, dude. Genuinely from my heart. Thank you. Whenever you're here, it just feels good. Thanks a lot for coming around, man. I appreciate you very much, as always. I hope you have a good night, man. Ah, okay. Event not found. Fair enough. So what are we doing wrong? I guess we're sending something wrong. V1 meetups, lorem. So we have that. Events. Oh, shit. Sorry, my bad. I think I used the title instead of a slug. Did I? Ah, this is why. This is why. Okay, so if we go to events now and we open an event, yeah, there we go. So we have the event page. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We're getting there slowly but surely. Event dots. We'll probably not get to the point of designing all the beautiful UI and stuff today. Who cares? Let's go actually to create events. Give me a moment over here. Come on, man. So let's create a new event. Sorry, this is the response, right? Let's go to the body. Let's close this up a bit. So we do this. And then what else do we have? We have this crap over here, right? So we do this. Yeah. So let's smack that. We have the validation. The title should not be a 50 characters long. Okay, so the title is too long. It seems our validation is kind of failing. 500 characters, all right? All right, beautiful. Beautiful. Let's go back to... We didn't expose this link anywhere yet, but if we go here, we should have this other event now. Yeah, here it is. Beautiful. Yeah. What do we actually have for the event? If we take a look at our database meetup event, so we have the title, slug description, start date, end date, event type, location, virtual, location type, virtual, location, Zoom, meetup ID, creator, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right, get event again. So if we get over here, right, I think I'm gonna do a few left joins, but we are already doing the creator and attendee, so that's actually good. What what about the actual the schema? Are we including this in the schema is the question. So let's take a look at that preview. So we do actually have attendees, no attendees yet, and then creator. So we have the creator, which is basically the creator is a shitty name. It's the organizer. So we should actually, where am I using creator, right? Let's go to the API. Creator ID. Okay, so let's actually, I hate this creator. I want to call it organizer. So let's just, before we, so meetup organizer ID. I hate the creator. It's super generic. It's shitty. Thank you very much, everybody, for your yeah, follows and stuff. Organizer. Creator ID, yeah. Just gonna globally search and replace that like this. Well, what are your thoughts about Bun? Good evening, buddy. Barcode, love you, dude. Come tomorrow again. Seriously. What are my thoughts? I'm not quite sure what to say, right? I mean, I don't know if you've been part of my streams. I can genuinely tell you that I don't really care. Because I'm not quite sure. How would I don't know what to say, honestly. Like, what is the value, right? In a way, right? I mean, if we have Golang, we have Go. Do you want to build high-performant APIs? If that's your main concern, use Go, right? So I'm not quite sure what should I feel about a new language, right? Cool, right? It's a new language. Well, if I want performance, I would use Go, right? Instantly. If my main concern with an API, even though even that is hilarious, right? But if my main concern is performance, I would use Go. Why would I use Bun or Node.js, right? And it's not a rhetorical question. I'm asking you, why would I use something other than Go? Go is a super well-established language with beautiful community, with beautiful language, simple language, built by super great minds. So you get what I mean, right? So at the end of the day, right, why? The question is why, right? The question isn't what I necessarily think, because what I think is irrelevant, right? It's just why. That is my main question, right? But which performance, right, Sako? What are we talking about? Sako, man, good evening. Which performance, right? Like which performance, right? I mean, again, you say Bun is performant. What do you mean performant, right? I mean, who cares, man? I mean, I don't care genuinely, right? I don't think that type of performance that they're promising influences performance, right? But speed of what, right? Like as I asked before here, did any of you in this chat ever deal with performance issues before? Did any of you ever actually build an API? No, but I'm asking you, right? I'm not talking theoretically. All of this is just theory. It's an empty talk. I'm asking you, did you ever deal with performance issues when it comes to API, right? I am using Sequelize, yes. So it's not about theory. Like in theory, it's faster. That's cool. I'm asking any of you, did any of you ever build an API where you actually dealt with API performance issues, right? npm, that's tooling. That has nothing to do with anything else, right? You install that once in your project, maybe you reinstall it sometimes, so that's not an argument worth, right? Well, I'm not using npm. I'm using pnpm, which is pretty much instant, right? So that's another thing. But regardless, right? Again, look, I'm not suggesting that's not the point. I'm not suggesting that you should not using something like bun, for example. Like, that's not the point, right? Exactly, but that's the point. That's the point 42, right? It's always they. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking to you and the other people in this stream. Have you ever faced performance issues? I don't care about them, because whenever you talk to any other developer, they're always talking out of theory. They talk about some performance issues that someone out there had. And I'm not talking about those imaginary people. I'm talking to people here at this time who are here now. So some people out there who had performance issues. I'm not talking about some imaginary people, right? We're talking about here people that deal with issues. And none of you ever actually, you get what I mean, right? So all of this performance is just nerd talk, right? I don't neglect, for example, if I would start building a new project now and bun is, so if I had to write a new thing today and bun is fine as node, sure, I would use it. Why not? But I don't care apart from that, right? So again, the problem, the core problem of those discussions is that there's always someone there who said something, right? And that doesn't work for me, right? Whenever I meet those developers, I go to meetups. Sometimes I talk at the meetups, right? When I go to conferences, you have a bunch of developers always talking about performance, but they never dealt with performance issues once in their careers. And even here in this stream, I have asked thousands of times, have you actually dealt with API performance issues? And nobody ever said yes, right? It's just so much theory, man. It's too much theory all the time. It's just fucking annoying. Meetup.creator. I hope so. Organizer ID. Okay, so that's actually good. Okay, that's also good, I guess. Members, that's not good. Why is it? Oh, it's because nobody. Oh, there was. Okay, sure. Bad request. Okay, and I suppose. Wait. Join meetup. Meetup ID. Blah blah blah. Let's actually see about that. Join meetup. Request user ID. That's all cool. Meetup ID. User ID. Meetup ID. Blah blah blah. Meetup members. User ID. What the fuck? So why did this fail? Do we still have creator somewhere? No. Oh, I see what the issue is. Yeah. No, but I'm sorry. Like, I'm not trying to be a piece of shit, right? Well, I mean, I am a piece of shit, right? Sure, but I'm at least, to my defense, I'm not trying to be one. And it's again, I mean, it's too theoretical, right? I mean, again, for 99.9% of you out there, and me myself included, which backend language you use should really be determined by the language that you know best and the language that you enjoy the most, right? A lot of those performance related things. Look, if you're going to start a new project today and you care about performance, pick Go. If you want to build an API, you choose Go, and that's where you stop, right? Now, if you want to build some project that's going to have some traffic, who cares, man? Like, nobody cares. Like nobody. It's make no difference. If you want to build some shitty project now, are you going to build your API in C, Node.js, Bun, Go, right? No, but Sako, I'm not suggesting not to use it. That's not the point of the discussion. If I will, look, let me put it this way. If I will build the next API using JavaScript, and I have to choose between two Node.js variations, of course I'm going to pick the one that's faster. That's logic. So I'm not saying that I wouldn't use that Bun or whatever else comes in 3 months, right? That's not the point. I'm saying, so that's not the point of the discussion. The point of the discussion is that in most circumstances, nobody cares about this extra performance that they claim that there is, because 99% of people never reach the point of dealing with even remotely with performance issues. So the point isn't if you really have to build, high performance API, you would not use JavaScript at all anyway. You're going to use Go, even C# or something like that, right? So I'm not disagreeing with you, Sako, at all. I'm just saying, for most people, which API language or which language you use, nobody cares. It makes no difference. It makes absolutely no difference, right? That's the point, right? Exactly. Shit. Just give me 1 second. I just need to focus on this for a moment. I forgot to do those things. Wait. Fuck. No, actually, that's good. Savior. Yeah. The savior. There's always a savior in the JavaScript community. It's hilarious. It's kind of funny. You have a bunch of developers writing Hello World apps for 10 years. Or, if you choose this technology, you would be able to serve 300 billion requests per second. And I'm like, okay, dude, have you actually built an API where you have 2 users? Well, that's besides the point, If one day I would build a platform that has 1 billion users, it would definitely have been worth it. All right. Cool story, bro. Join meetup. Okay. Shit. Schema. No, that's not what I wanted. Why am I over here? Okay, let me just review this slug. Slug. Get meetup. Yes. App delete. Meetup ID events. Shit. Get events. Yeah, didn't we like... Yo, that's exactly the immaturity, right? That's exactly the immaturity. That's what this stream is about. Here I try to genuinely put people on the right path, honestly. Because again, whenever I ask reasonable questions here, I get silence for the most part. Like, for example, did you ever build a product where you actually have a single user, not 100 million users or 5 users? Did you actually have performance issues? Do you have them now? Are they related to the API? Maybe they're related to the database or 15 other services that your API is related to, right? Because all of those performance metrics that you get when you compare those APIs, they do a hello world example. It's like, how many hello world strings can this API return per second? Who gives a fuck, man? Nobody. Like, do the real performance benchmark with 15 different services or 3 different databases, with having a database with limited amount of polls and stuff like that. So etc, etc, etc. For the most part, your bottleneck is not going to be your API. It's going to be your databases. It's going to be other things, right? But anyway, whatever. That's how it is, man. Fuck, how is this actually working? Yeah, Sako, but sure. I mean, if you have the problems, then you can scale your Node.js, right? Run multiple nodes of it, right? If you're claiming that your Node.js is the problem right now, right? So if you're, Sako, claiming that now you're having a problem with Node.js being slow, which I have a hard time believing, because literally PayPal.com, I mean, literally when you go to PayPal.com, that's served by Node.js, right? So I don't know what you're doing. Maybe right. But either way, right? If you have it, great. Then do something about it. Either scale it better, horizontally, vertically, whatever, or switch the language, whatever. But I don't think that your bottleneck comes from Node. I don't think so. Again, as I always say, if you need performance, if you need high concurrency, if you need to build a pub sub, if you need to build a service such as, I don't know, messaging queue, like RabbitMQ and stuff, you will simply run away from JavaScript, right? So again, it's you just don't use those things. If you want to build a high concurrent messaging system, deal with millions, billions of API calls, whatever, then Go is thing to use, right? And this is my ultimate answer to that, right? To be honest, I don't think that I would use Bun or any shit like that. Still probably based on Chromium or some crap like that, right? And that's it. That's kind of my take on that. I'm gonna not give any more takes on that, because I think I shared. I don't want to overdo it, because people are gonna think that I have something against it, which is ridiculous. I'm a JavaScript developer, so I support any developments of this language, and clearly, I mean. I think 25 Gold tried every permutation on the planet ever when it comes to word extension and plugin. I think AI wouldn't be able to generate that many permutations using those 2 words. And he still didn't get it. Nope, still didn't get it. And you didn't get it because there's no such command, bro. Oh, there's new attempts. You cannot trigger something that doesn't exist. Okay, meetups. Yes. No links for you guys. No links. Shit, I don't know it either. Fuck. You cannot run the command that triggers nothing. Think about it. Fucking noobs. Okay. You insult me, I insult you back. It's a beautiful, beautiful relationship we have here. Ooh. Ah, I see. Okay. All right. That's how it is, man. Yeah. All right. I don't know what clipping is, but if I knew, I would do it. There is no events for this meetup. There are no events for this meetup. Outplayed one. Good evening, buddy. Good to have you here, man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming. And yeah, and thank you everybody for your follows and stuff. I'm sorry for yeah, for not saying that in time. It's just bunch of noobs here are writing stuff, and yeah. Uh, Bill Gray. I think what I'm trying to do with this platform is really build several features which I believe. I think, okay, let me just, as I'm always like super transparent. So I don't think that fundamentally feature wise there's nothing on this platform now or ever that doesn't exist elsewhere. I think the fundamental difference is that I'm trying to build several features that play well together in a single platform. So for example, I want to have a platform myself where I can come, let's say, read blogs or articles or tweets. I can also find meetups, either virtual or physical, that I want to go to. I want to maybe find a job eventually or whatever. So I want to build those existing features that exist on the internet for 20 years or 30, but more for developers, right? So it kind of in the environment where you can do a few of those generic things that you would do anyway elsewhere, right? So and of course, when I say right now, I mean, I don't, I do this part-time in the evening. I have a full-time job and wife and a kid, right? So I everything that you see that's in production, that's online, all of this has been built in the stream, right? So I do this few hours a week, right? And I mean, you can see that it's still there, right? It's still deployed, and we still have maybe 1,000 users or something that signed up, right? So it's definitely happening, right? It's just right now there isn't some sort of majestic idea yet, right? It's basically the roadmap in a way is here, right? So I want to build all these features soon, in a couple of months, as with a limited time. Right now we're doing meetups, right? And then see, right, as the time goes. But there's no real clarity, right? I'm not doing this ship fast, fail fast. I'm doing this because it's my passion and it's fun and I love streaming, right? Because if I was doing this, if I was investing my money into this or whatever, then I would have done this platform like 3,000% differently than I'm doing it now, right? So for now, it's a mix of fun and right. Raps, my friend. Good evening. So yeah, so there isn't honestly some sort of ultimate roadmap, right? What I do is I show up almost every evening and I make progress, and that's all that matters, right? Because where most developers fail is consistency, and they just a lot of talk, right? It's just a constant planning. You create some Trello board or whatever, linear or whatever. You lay down 5 million features you want to do, but you never really finish anything, right? And that's the difference with me, right? I am actually showing up, and I am actually doing things, right? And that's the fundamental difference, I think, at the end of the day, right? Yeah, but it's a very valid question, and I'm always honest, right? I don't think that this platform right now in any way is anything special. I think this maybe part where maybe it is special is that we're building the community through this stream, and that I find special, because at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, the quality of the community is defined by the people. I think the quality of the community is defined by the people which are there, not the pixels that you click on, right? So for example, I don't have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I don't have those platforms. Some of them at Instagram, I maybe saw that platform once or twice in my life. TikTok, I never saw once in my life. So I don't have those platforms, not because I hate their user interface. I just hate the existence of those platforms because they're just not good for you. They're just, they are built and developed every day to annihilate your time, your focus, to literally just harm you in a way. I mean, nobody's building them to harm you directly, but it is harming you, right? So it's pretty horrible. So I'm building this network literally for myself. I want to be able to go somewhere and just mind my own programmer shit without thinking about, you know, various types of garbage, right? So that's how it is, right? Yeah, corporate shipping approach sucks. I'm on work and I'm doing exactly that. Exactly. Me and my wife both, we removed Facebook pretty much 15, 16 years ago when we met. I've been with my wife for 15 years and yeah, I mean, it's again, a lot of people are afraid to remove those platforms because they think they're gonna miss out or some stuff or whatever. But you would not miss out on anything. And I really hope, I really truly wish that I can influence people to even give it a try because your life would be better. Your life would be better. You would spend your, because let's not deceive ourselves, right? You do not have control over it when you use it, right? Because I see people in the train, I see them in the metro, I see them all over the place. They're just zombified, just constantly scrolling. I mean, think about it this way. Think about it this way. I think all of us here are adults, right? And to some degree, you're capable to resist that stuff. One thing that concerns me the most is that I have many siblings, right, from my wife's sister and stuff. And when I see them, they're maybe 12 or 13 years old. Can you imagine for an average child today? So before they even get to step on the school, to school in the morning or afternoon, so before they even get to the point of sitting in a classroom, they have scrolled to like through like 10 kilometers of random feeds, right? It's like you scroll through that stuff, right? Constantly, just keep scrolling, but it's shit garbage quality content. So it has no quality, it's random. Imagine what happens in a child's mind. That child now has to sit in a classroom and focus on something. How the fuck can you focus on anything when you have just, it's like 8 in the morning, your brain is already filled with garbage, right? Uh, it's genuinely scary to me. It's genuinely scary to me. Like I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't want to be this asshole, you know, like, oh, kids today. It's never kids' fault. I mean, I always say if I had the phone when, you know, when I was, you know, 20 years ago, when I was, you know, 15 or whatever, then I would have done equally the same. So I'm not saying, oh, those kids today. That's the most stupid thing you can say. I'm not saying that at all. I just mean that it's quite concerning, man. It's quite how the hell can you focus on anything when whole day, every day you just scroll to a bunch of garbage, man? Your brain. Actually, I read a book recently. I can share it with you. It's on Amazon. It's like it's free as well, and you can read it in around 40 minutes. It's like 20 pages. It's called Dopamine Detox. This book, I read this book maybe a couple of months ago. I highly advise you to do this. You can literally read this in 1 minute. Sorry, in 1 hour. I think it was. I think I read it in like 1 hour. I think it was like, yeah, it was 70 pages. I read this book in like maybe even less than an hour. It's quite extraordinary. Like it gets to the point very quickly. You have a little questionnaire to fill in, but it talks exactly about what I was just talking about now, about this addiction to dopamine, the addiction of constantly. That's why people can no longer focus on anything more. That's why you have short videos, shorts as they call it, whatever, because nobody's able to focus on anything anymore, right? It's just a crippling nation, right? We're all just mentally incapable of anything anymore. It's quite crazy. Okay, what the fuck did I want to do here now? Here's an opposing viewpoint. Someone has to push out. I mean, I don't think. I mean, I think it would be. I mean, I respect your view, and I don't necessarily disagree. I think the way that you wrote it kind of almost misleads what I said. I never said that we should boycott anything. Let me put it this way. Scott, next time when you go out with your friend, right? Sit for 2 hours or 3 and change 20 subjects. So go with your friend and talk about 10 different subjects for 2 or 3 hours. And then go home and ask yourself, how do I feel about this now? Most people would feel drained out completely, right? Because they had to switch mentally 20 different things, right? So this is not about anyone opposing anything. This is rather just a basic I mean, yeah, whatever, fuck it. Um, the thing is, I don't think that I don't think I don't think genuinely. I mean, I cannot obviously. All of this is coming out of my butthole, obviously, right? So I cannot say, oh, I have a proof of this or that. I think if you observe side effects of things, so if you don't look at the problem directly, so let's not even look at the social platforms. Just look at the content around you. Just look at the YouTube videos. They're all now cut to 5 minutes. Look at the shorts. If you look at the statistics of my YouTube videos, the average duration of each video is 2.5, 3 minutes before people give up. Now you can say, well, Alex, your content sucks, which is very highly likely. It's very possible that my videos just bore the living shit out of people. But then you have to take the other element into it, right? And people are actually incapable. That's why, we're drugging kids today. Like every second person you talk to is like, no, I have an ADHD. It's like, dude, you do not have a fucking ADHD, man. What you have is incapability in your life to focus on anything because you have 15 devices in your house which are pinging every 5 seconds. Your TV is on, your tablet is on. You're scrolling through. So right. So if you look at the world from a perspective of just observing side effects of your assumptions, then you will in fact notice that people are incapable to focus, and then you have to build the argument from there. Then you say, well, okay, why is that, right? Well, that's because again, you have 10 electronic devices in your home, you sleep next to your phone, it's constant pinging, ping all the time, right? So in simple words, I think it's not a matter of just my opinion or whatever. I think the experiment already is sufficient to show that the effects of this are harmful, to me at least. I don't think that I need any more experiment. When I look at kids on the street, when I look at my siblings, they're zombified. It's almost like they lack empathy, right? Because it drains you so much doing this, right? They're just like, when you look at the eyes of some people like in the metro, whatever, it's almost like they're zoned out completely, or they're not present in the moment at all, right? So to me, that is already an evidence, right? Now, am I right? Who knows? It doesn't really matter. I mean, I don't care. At the end of the day, I do put money where my mouth is. I don't have those platforms. I think I'm way better off not having them, right? And I'm happy about not using them, right? So I'm not the one who has this and still preaches it to other people, right? I think that social experiment that Scott has mentioned has happened, and the data, in my view, observing the world around me, shows that it's harmful to everybody, and the society failed to kind of deal with it, right? So that's my take. Am I right? Who cares and who knows, right? I don't know. The best way to learn how to code is to write code, to build things. And the only way. It's the best and the only way. It's the same if you ask me, Alex, what's the best way to play a guitar? It's to sit and learn how to play songs. That's what it is. That's how it is. Let me tell you one thing, guys. Let me give you one tangible thing that will prove my point. If you want to be, okay, let's just put it this way. Let's imagine we're all friends and we are sitting all with each other, and you come to me and say, Alex, can you convince me that what you're saying about me wasting time every day is true? I can. Let me show you. If you want to be true with yourself, if you truly want to improve, if you want to be honest, like let's say like you decided, okay, I'm not going to lie to myself, I'm not going to bullshit myself, I will be honest. You have applications like Rescue Time. Let me tell you my story. So around 10 years ago when I worked in Sweden, at one point, one day I was programming, I was at work, and I realized that I'm wasting a lot of time, and then I wanted to find out how much. So I installed this application called Rescue Time. This was 10 years ago, and this thing tracks the applications you have opened on your computer. So it tracks pretty much, it's kind of scary when I talk about it, but basically it tracks which applications you have opened, which websites and stuff. And then it gives you this thing called productivity pulse. So it shows you at the end of the day what you actually did, and it approximates how productive you were. And then to cut the story short, when I saw my numbers, I was actually pretty, it was pretty depressing. I was ashamed, right? Because I was spending 2 hours a day on YouTube, I don't know, 3 hours on something else. So my actual time that I was doing my work was just incredibly, it was just shameful, right? Now, of course, I'm not suggesting you to do this because of your work, because hopefully at the place where you work, nobody is measuring you by time. They're saying do those tasks and that's it. So I'm not suggesting this to you or your employer. I'm suggesting this if you want to truly be honest with yourself, find a tool like this, and you will actually know. You can also install this on your phone, and then you will truly notice how much time you waste on those platforms, because you do. It's non-argumentative. I think most people do, because just look at our. So if you ever wonder if I'm right, I'm sure you're gonna get convinced if you do that. That's what I did. It had a free plan back then, but I was paying as well. This was literally a decade ago, almost. The thing is, I mean, you have people playing video games 15 hours a day, right? So I think the amount of privilege we have in Western part of the world is so ridiculous that all of the things we're talking about here are factual for me, right? Because never in history of the world, of human society, a humankind could have afforded to not just sit whole day by the computer, but grind boars and tigers and shit in a game and live good, right? So when you take also that information, even though you can say it's not really relevant to the discussion, you can say that we are truly wasting a lot of time on various different things, and because we can, right? And the point, I guess, is that if you don't want to be that person, you just have to acknowledge it, right? I mean, I think Scott, I think your points are super valid, and there isn't anything that I disagree with. I think the fundamental thing, the way that I live my life generally, is I always ask fundamental primitive questions. I always ask, would you want your child to be like that? You know, when a lot of men, for example, when they say bad things about women. You know, when you see a hot chick and you say very ugly things, you always can say, well, would you want that person to be saying that about your own daughter, right? So in simple words, we can of course rationalize and generalize and empathize and whatever, like you did now, but fundamentally, would you want your child to be that consumer? Probably not. Of course, I don't know your values. You might say, you might give me this super generic answers like, yeah, I don't care, it's her or his life, right? Exactly, exactly, exactly. Well, there you go, right? So of course the balance. I agree. So that's the point, right? I mean, for me, it's pretty clear when I think about my son. I certainly don't want him to spend 5 hours a day scrolling through feeds, right? It's kind of it's very sad, right? Anyway, it's a super nice discussion, and I don't think I'm not trying to push my views onto anybody, right? Everyone has their own life and they can decide. But since I have the medium here unfairly, I must say, to talk, I would rather want to influence people in a good way and be honest rather than be too correct and then influence nothing, right? That's I've shared my experience. Yeah. It's just how it is. I think the stream is not just not just write code whole day. It's a lot of those other things as well. I can tell you that when I worked at Thinkful, I worked at the boot camp for 5.5 years. I was working as a mentor, and so let me show you one thing. So a couple of years ago, I worked part-time as a mentor at Thinkful. Thinkful used to be a very good boot camp. I don't know, is it now? But I basically worked here, and I had around 160 something students over the years, over the 5.5 years period. And actually, I had students who never wrote any code in their lives, and within 3 months, 3.5 months, they would actually learn to program, right? And those people were able to focus so much and to organize their time that when I saw that, you kind of realize, right? I realized that you have such a huge discrepancy between people, right? You have people who are unable to do anything in a week because they're all over the place. They blame it, ADHD, all of this bullshit, right? But the power of focusing, right? It's crazy. If you're able to focus, it's crazy what you can achieve, right? Somebody mentioned that they're switched from video games to programming. 100%. I'm saying now for 15 years, because I used to be a gamer. I used to play games as well. If those gamers were able to commit 30% of this time that they're spending killing a boss 500 times a day to get a mount, if they could spend 30% of the time learning to program, they would be like rich, all of them, right? That if you could transfer that type of addiction of a video game to actually doing something productive, you wouldn't know where your career would just be insane, right? It's just if you can take that addiction and get addicted to something actually useful, because nobody gives a tiny crap if you have some sword in some virtual world with 500 other sweaty gamers, right? So if you can take that focus and actually do something useful with your life, you can achieve anything. It's just crazy, right? Do you think I should self-teach myself? I think if any of you wants to learn programming and you have some money, get a mentor. I think you don't necessarily need a boot camp, but I think mentorship is one of the most powerful things that there is. When I worked at Thinkful, I think the main value for my students wasn't the program, it was the mentor, it was me, and of course other mentors. So when you go to a boot camp, they're going to give you some content. You can buy this course, same content on Udemy. You can buy this whole curriculum on Udemy for $10, whatever, right? But the value is the mentor. And when I say the value is the mentor, I don't even mean just in a technical sense. Once you engage yourself in a very high intensity program, such as a boot camp, where you have to study 30, 40 hours a week, having a mentor kind of gives you the least important thing would be the technical part. The mentor becomes your friend. He pushes you. He he or she motivates you, you know. So keep in mind, mentor isn't just you show up and it's like, what is JavaScript? No, that's also great, right? But your mentor is there to you know, I was meeting with my students 2 or 3 hours a week. Initially on Thinkful, it was 3 hours a week. Then it was 2 hours a week because Thinkful got greedy. They wanted more money, right? Unfortunately, it's a shame that bootcamp used to be great. But now, you know, of course, it costs money, right? It costs. I wouldn't be able to do it probably more than 55 an hour, right? That's nothing here in Denmark. That's not enough, right? I mean, for me, you know, if I would be billing by hourly rate, it would be probably minimum 100 euros an hour, right? Because I pay 42% tax, etc., etc., right? So it's just crazy, right? But if you can afford a mentor, that's the best investment you can make. And you don't even have to be junior. Even if you're senior. Exactly. So actually, I'm planning that's exactly what I'm planning to do. So a couple of days ago, I created a poll on. So let me show you. So I am actually planning. Yeah, 42% is my tax. Yes. So a couple of days ago, I asked people in Discord if they're actually interested in such a thing. So I asked, would you be interested in a 4 to 6 months web development bootcamp where we would meet for two to 4 hour sessions per week, blah, blah, blah. And then 5 people said not interested. 3 people said, no, I don't know. 5 people said maybe, but I have to hear more, right? So let's see. I mean, I'm planning to do that, and I think it would be a lot cheaper because it would be group based. But then I want to organize it so people can study together. You can write code together, and then we would also have those streams apart from that where you can ask things. So I think there is potential there to make it both good for me, and then I would reinvest that same buck into this project. But it would also be good for you because it would be, you know, very, very natural. You would meet people, you would meet other developers, you would code together, you would. So I think I'm going to think about it. I just have to organize it. But I miss that. I used to do that, as you saw, for 5.5 years, and there's no better feeling than when your student comes to you or sends you a message a year ago and says, "Hey, Alex, you know." Recently, I had a guy on LinkedIn doing that. You know, you get a message from someone 5 years later that says, "Thanks, man, for, you know, I'm happy that I had you as a mentor and stuff." That's like very, very, very humane type of thing when somebody tells you that. Okay. But good. I can see that there is actually some people asking about it, so that's perfect. I will actually organize something. Okay. So wait, so many subjects. You can see so many answers, so many discussions. My brain now is like slowly shutting down. Meetup event. What am I even doing? Yeah, meetup event. Yes. Start date, end date. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's just smack some stuff over here, just for fun. So I'm gonna say. Yeah, something like that, maybe. Just, I don't actually know. No. Give me a sec. I don't actually know what am I getting back. Okay, so we need to update the schema. Yeah, I see. Meetups controller. Sub, thank you very much, man. You're very kind. Thank you very much for the sub. And Bill, thank you very much, man. Thank you, everybody. Very nice stream. A lot of new people, and that's always makes me come back to stream more. So thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. I'm happy that you're having a good time. I am certainly as well, and that's very nice. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you, everybody. Very much appreciated. Guys, give me just 2 seconds just to check up on my kid. He's sleeping. Give me 1 second. All right, sorry. Beautiful. Yes, sorry. I thought I heard him moving. I left him on our own bed. So meetup event response schema. Yeah, I think this is meetup event. Yeah, I think this is what we need. Okay, beautiful. So now we need looks-on in the front end, right? So looks-on. So if you ever want to, so if you ever worked with the date in JavaScript, you know very well how horrible the date library in JavaScript is, right? And for many years, we had this library called moment.js, which was the library that we all used to fiddle with dates, right? This was the library of the web. So if you had to work with, dates in JavaScript, you would use this. Now, this got deprecated, right? Why did it get deprecated? It got deprecated because it was written in without JavaScript modules, without any with CommonJS or anything like that, right? So they rewrote it. They wrote looks-on, and now looks-on is the modern moment.js. So if you're working with dates in JavaScript, you have few options. You have looks-on. You have date f and s. This is a very common alternative as well. So you have looks-on, you have date f and s, and then you have day.js. Those are usually 3 options you have. So day.js, date fns, or looks-on. I love looks-on. Why do I love looks-on? Well, I love looks-on because it has method chaining API. It has I just love the API basically, right? The way that it's done. So, but again, this is highly popular. And then day.js is also highly popular. Now, depending to which degree you want it, again, the API of looks-on is very nice. It's also called Fluent API. There's a concept when it comes to it's called Fluent API. And I read about Fluent API in a very old JavaScript book, maybe 15 years ago. I don't remember. But either way, looks-on is good because it's very easy to get relative dates done as well. You can calculate relative dates, which is oftentimes what you need in the calendars, like from to whatever. All right, so it gets it. And we are using a looks-on in Programmer Network as well, I think, if I remember. I hope so. So let's try to use it. So import date time, I think from looks-on. Shit, or am I using it in the API? Let me take a look. Yeah, we're using it in the API. Well, actually, you know what? But I thought that we were using it here as well. Okay, we weren't. So we are using date fns in the front and looks-on in the back. Okay. All right. That's what it is. Date from now. Okay, difference in hours. Okay. That's a bit funny. But that's the product of the stream and building everything live. That's how it is. Okay, so what do we want? So basically what I want is something like this. Let's take a look at that. So and we're going to use ChatGPT for that, I think, for the first time today. Just so let's use the AI efficiently. Obviously, ChatGPT 4. Given those 2 dates in JavaScript, use date fns to convert them to human readable form. The first date is the when the event starts, and the second one when the event ends. Actually, we haven't used it today, which is kind of strange. We should have parse ISO. Okay. All right. Beautiful. All right. Beautiful. Yes. Ah, shit. Never mind. All right. Beautiful. Um, I think so basically, since we're kind of replicating meetup.com feature here, right? So this is going to be always an hour. So really, I think the what really matters is when the event starts, not so much when it ends, because it's going to be time difference, right? So we're going to probably eventually do the time diff of those two dates anyway, right? And then we're going to say, okay, starts here and lasts for X amount of hours, right? But let's not get a, right? Luin, good evening, buddy. Thank you for coming by as always, man. The song is Slipknot, Before You Forget. It's Slipknot. So we're gonna leave it for now. Not gonna lose our sleep over this, but we don't know, right? Probably not gonna be like this, right? All right. So yeah, we're gonna have some. This is all still early, but we're gonna have some meetup landing page. You're gonna be able. We need to still create those forms. Then we're gonna have so we're gonna also have some search, I guess. Eventually you're gonna click on that, you're gonna go to a single meetup, then the meetup organizer is gonna create the events. You're gonna be able to see the events, the previous and the current event. Then you're gonna click on the event, and then we have to design this event view. And for those of you who don't actually know what we're doing, we're kind of trying to replicate pieces of the meetup.com feature into Programmer Network. So when you go to meetup, this is kind of the most popular meetup platform I think out there, and then yeah, you have a meetup, which is the kind of entity the that from which you create events, right? So this meetup is called New York City Girlfriend Get-Togethers, right? So this is the actual meetup, and then there's events that meet. So we're kind of replicating for our own programmer experience this thing, and if we hopefully going to do it better. I think it's not, it's at least from a technical standpoint and UI standpoint, it's not hard to make things better than this. But yeah, so and right now basically this is the event. So this would be the event page, and this is kind of what we're doing here, right? So we need to kind of present the event, you know, what's happening in the event, presenters, blah 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 blah, right? So that's kind of what we're going to be doing next couple of streams, and hopefully we can finish it. But now we have kind of the views, I believe, all the views. So if I go, and we didn't expose that link anywhere, but we have the meetups, which is the landing page. There's going to be a bunch of events here. Let's actually go to Postman. Let's create a couple of more meetups, right? With the same data. Who cares? Just so we can have this, right? Now, how that visually is going to look like, we don't really know yet. We'll see. Give me a second. No. All right, cool. So yeah, so that's going to be some sort of a list. we'll also need to create this form, right? So let's actually use ChatGPT for this. So if you're wondering what to use the AI for, generative AI for, like ChatGPT or Bard or whatever, use it by priming it with things that you already have, that you've already done. And then so let me show you how I'm going to use it in a super intelligent way. So we save 20 minutes of copy pasting our own shit that we already did. So for example, if I find some form that I already have, so if I go to views and I go to, yeah, no, that's too complex. Let's go to dashboard. I'm using the default theme. I'm using the dark modern theme with this background extension, basically. Yeah, so anyway, going to what do I want to do? Let's go to courses, maybe. Courses, they have a pretty simple shit. Oh, never mind. Worship the sofa. Thank you very much, buddy. Feed form rating for. Okay. So yeah, so actually so I'm gonna do something like this. No, let's actually find another one. Give me a second. Feed form, rating form, section form. Yeah, so something like this, maybe, right? So I'm gonna. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so the way that I'm gonna prime the AI, right? I'm gonna say, all right, given this React form, create a form called create meetup with fields that conform this AJV schema. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my API, and I'm going to actually go to the schema meetup event response. There must be meetup body schema, yeah, title, description, location, something like this, right? And this is a super easy way to automate manually copy pasting things, right? So now it should in fact generate a schema given, the form given my existing form that I already have. So it should just, right? So this code would literally look exactly the same if I wrote it manually, right? Because this is my whole system that I built, right? Well, you should be doing this, yes. This is the way to do it, yes. You give it your own code, your own opinion, you prime it with your own stuff that you already did, and instead of you manually, obviously, now creating an input, then another input, then text area, which clearly you cannot beat the computer in that, right? Nobody can. You just do it like this, right? So you can see it basically pretty much did exactly what I want, right? Name, label. The only problem is, well, we'll continue with this anyway tomorrow, but I think we need more fields. Okay, created that, updated that, sure. It's just, okay, no, this is the meetup entity. Okay, all good. I think we'll need more fields here for sure, because this is just title and description and location, so we'll need maybe a bit more stuff there, right? But yeah, if we copy this thing now, right, and we go to, let's just create something like forms here, right? And let's create a meetup form, right? Right? And then we smack this stuff that this robot generated for us, right? So that should be kind of fine, right? Already. So what do we want to do, right? So if we go to meetups, right, and we have this create a meetup, right? We probably want to, well, we want to show that form. So when I click here, we maybe want to replace the list of meetups with that. We don't know, right? I haven't spent time on figuring out where we want that to, but let's imagine we want to do that, right? So let's say here const is creating meetup, that, right? And then obviously if we go, so here we're gonna say, if is creating meetup. And we want to say return meetup. Yep. And then obviously we want to invoke this, right? So create a meetup. So give me 1 second. All right, great. So let's try that. Beautiful. There it is. So that's great. Obviously, we wanna yeah, we'll just do this as well. And actually, no, we don't want to. Probably don't want to do it there. We want to do it maybe instead of this. Yeah. So we want to have some conditional rendering here, right? So I'm gonna say is creating a meetup, right? And then something like that instead, right? And then we can get rid of that, right? So you can see now, yeah. So it's going to be pretty much there, right? And then we probably don't want to, we no longer want to show this button, right? So if it's not creating a meetup, right? So here now, if we cancel, we should go back to the previous state, right? And then pretty much where's the form create meetup, right? So the theme is the default theme. It's dark modern. It's just I'm using this background extension. All right, and then here handle cancel exactly, and then here we can just have a lambda function, right? It says set is creating meetup to false, right? So if we cancel this crap, it should get us back there. And then we'll implement an endpoint here, right, to do this. So let's actually go in there. Yeah, that's actually beautiful. Great. Interesting. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then we'll need to basically create an effect or an API call, right? So for submission, so for create, yeah, so handle create, we can pass it obviously for meetups or we can localize it inside of this form. It doesn't really matter, but it's going to be essentially, if we go to our Swagger, right, it's going to be this post to meetups and then, right, what is the time? It's midnight. All right, cool. Let's round it up, guys. Thank you very much. I'll be streaming tomorrow at 21:00 CST, so Copenhagen time. If you're around, please come by. If not, I'm streaming pretty much almost every night. So if you have nothing better to do, sometimes just come around, let's hang out. And as always, join our Discord if you want to be notified where I'm streaming. And then I recently started the YouTube, so I'm occasionally recording some videos about very opinionated, very raw, very honest. So if you have time, take a look at that as well. G Bounty, as always, dude, having you here is always an honor, especially, you know, you're a developer as well with a huge followays and stuff. So thank you very much for being here, man. And I'll see you tomorrow, all of you. I wish you well. I wish you best. And Bill 404, Bounty, everybody, guys, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for sticking around. And I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be well and take care of yourselves. Okay. Peace out, fellas. Bye. Peace out. Cheers. Bye bye. Bye. Bye, Benix. Bye, man. Cheers.